Let's continue here on the program. We're joined by a gentleman. As a matter of fact, he just completed his 4th season as the head baseball coach at LSU. And two national championships. The Tigers have won 8 straight games. As a matter of fact, defeated, of course, Coastal Carolina in the College World Series. And he's taken 2 other teams to the College World Series. He is Jay Johnson. He joins us here on the program. Coach Johnson, congratulations and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Always good to be on with you.
Absolutely. Just want to kind of get your thoughts. That's a tough. I mean, you're talking about 2 games against Coastal Carolina, a 1-0 victory, and then a 5-3 victory also. 2 really good college baseball games in the College World Series. Your thoughts on those games and then ultimately winning the College World Series?
Yeah, the games against Coastal, just the pitching for both teams really stood out. And that's why we were both there. You know, Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson on our side, Cam Fluke and Morrison on their side, Chase Shores coming out of the bullpen, the good left-handed relievers that they had, and playing in a pitcher's ballpark, it really made runs at a premium. And so being able to bust out that 4-run inning there in the 4th of game 2 was ultimately the difference in the series. So that was awesome. And, you know, just as far as Omaha, my favorite place in the world, and just really proud of our team for how well we played in the College World Series and worthy champion. You know, we were, you know, the national champions, and I believe we were also the best team this year, you know, from wire to wire, and really proud of them for that.
Yeah, you talk about the pitching because you had been scoring some runs, and of course, as you go on in, you know, the College World Series, runs become more at a premium. Maybe you play a little bit more small ball. But speak to the pitching, in particular that 1-0 game that you got against Coastal Carolina.
Cade Anderson, I mean, he was the pilot. You know, he checked the plane, he pushed it back from the gate. You know, he dominated the takeoff, the ascent, the cruising, the bumps along the way, the descent, and the landing. Special performance. And I said after the game, you know, the way Paul Skeens has talked about around here, the way Joe Burrow's talked about around here, Cade Anderson needs to be talked about like that, because that's the type of season he put up, and 4-0 in the postseason. And that's where you make your hay. And 12 wins in a year is really remarkable, and very proud of him for the season that he had.
Let me take you back a little bit, because the last loss that you had, as a matter of fact, was to Little Rock after having beat Little Rock. Then you turn around, well, you lose, but then turn around, come right back and beat Little Rock. I mean, I'm not going to say handily. I mean, the score's 10-6, but I mean, you put up the 10 runs, you win 4. Nothing's handily, you know, once you get to the regional round and so forth. You know, speak to coming back from that loss against Little Rock, winning the next game against Little Rock, and then now 8 straight wins.
Yeah, thank you for that. That was honestly one of the more intense/tense days of my entire career. We weren't playing till 8 p.m. And I'll tell you why. Is like, this was an exceptional team. Obviously, I felt like we'd done everything right. And our season ending in the regionals, that just didn't seem right. I really believed this team deserved to end its season in Omaha based on the talent, the work ethic, the character, how they played the schedule. But, you know, those guys, the Little Rock Trojans, man, they came in here and they played well, and they pushed us and got big hits and made big time plays on defense, and had some pitchers pitch above their capability. And it really tested us. And I told the team that night when we won the game that was one of the best wins of my entire career. And I meant it, because I knew the significance of it. And from that point on, it was almost like we got a second wind of life breathed into our team. And Super Regional, we played a great West Virginia team, Big 12 champions, and really dominated the series, and then played outstanding in Omaha. And very, very thankful for their response to the difficulty in the schedule and how they handled it.
Jay Johnson, in his 4th season as the head baseball coach at LSU, joins us here on the program. LSU, the Tigers, national champions for the 2nd time in Coach Johnson's tenure. I read so last year, 2024 season, you only had 12 players returning to this year's team. So can you I mean, that's only 12 players. Can you speak to that and having to rebuild this team?
Yeah, it's the first thing about that 12, it doesn't sound like a big number, but they were the right 12, both in talent, both in character, all of the above. And it was a great foundation when you're talking about Stephen Milam and Jared Jones and Kate Anderson. Great start, Chase Shores. Well, Chase actually didn't play last year because of Tommy John surgery. Jake Brown, Josh Pearson, which is a great starting point. And they used their experience from last year well. And then in the transfer portal, not only did we hit on good players, we hit on the right players. I mean, I just almost get emotional when I talk about Luis Hernandez, Chris Stanfield, Zach Cowan, Danny Dickinson, Anthony Ianson. And those guys, mean so much to me personally. And we had all of them for only 1 year, might have one or two of them back for next year, but they were amazing. And then, the best freshman class in college baseball, Derek Curiel, Kason Evans, William Schmidt, Kate Arambidi, Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams, John Pearson. Like, we had to take all that collection of talent and make it a team. And it's one of the tightest knit teams I've ever seen. It was very authentic and was a big difference in us being able to constantly get over the hump in all the close games that we played.
I was in college athletics administration years ago. I don't know all of the various rules now, right? But I mean, in reading, I don't know if you can talk about it, but you got guys coming in now for next year. I mean, are you able to talk about that, or how can
well, what I'll say is you got to get right back to work.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to, I'm hoping to get on a plane on Sunday morning to go out and recruit, but kind of what I'm looking forward to is sitting on a plane, in the back row by myself, put my headphones in and watch a bunch of highlights of the College World Series, because I don't want to just blow past what we just accomplished. But the nature of the calendar in our game is if you don't do a good job in these 40, 45 days, you're not going to have any opportunity to do something like that again next year. And so we're working hard. We've secured a few good players, and hope they add an ability and chemistry to a great foundation that we have here. I mentioned that freshman class, and obviously you're talking about Stephen Milam, Jake Brown, Derek Curiel, Kason Evans, William Schmidt, Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams. I mean, I'm really excited about that group. Kate Arambidi, really excited to add to that group again and try to keep this train on the tracks.
Jay Johnson, the head baseball coach at LSU, joining us here for a couple of more moments here on the program. Coach Johnson, how does this, I'm sure this has been asked many times, but I'm going to ask it again. How does this championship a couple days ago, in the season for that matter, compare to the 2023 championship in that season?
I've been asked that a lot. It's kind of been fun to answer it. Both equally special, a little bit different emotions when the game ended, because in 23 we were ahead 18-4. So it's like, we're closing this out. We're winning. I mean, this one, the tying run was at the plate, and I got two guys up in the bullpen. And so until the last out was made, my entire thoughts were about execution in the game. And which is kind of fun, because that's kind of our mantra anyways, is preparation and execution. But then when we turned that double play, next thing I know, my coaches were hugging me and choking me. So how they ended were completely different. Both amazing. I'm really proud of both of them. When I accepted this job, I did it. It was LSU, but I largely took it because I felt like in our second year, if we added the right pieces, if I helped the players that were here develop to their full capability, we would have a chance to win the national championship in 23. Like, that entered my mind. Then this year, I'm just so proud of how we did the season from start to finish. Like, this is a model team in terms of how it went about their business, and both very deserving champions. And I love all of them. And I think that there's so many quality players that have been in our program since I've been here. When you win a national championship, it kind of bonds you forever, with reunions and those types of things. And with both groups being so special, that's what I'm thankful for, is that we'll always be bonded together, as we move forward here.
You talk about LSU baseball, one of the best in the country. You've helped to continue to further that. but it's not like LSU baseball needs any more publicity. But boy, Paul Skeens took Major League Baseball by storm. Last year's doing well this year with the Pirates. Just your thoughts on how he's played and then being able to coach him there at LSU.
Yeah, he's a special guy. I mean, all the talent in the world, but the character, the work ethic, the self-discipline, the attention to detail, the desire to master his craft. He's on a different planet than everybody else when it comes to that. And, it's been awesome to watch. I'm hopeful to maybe sneak out to the All-Star game this year to just watch him throw his inning, and celebrate that with him, because we've been so busy with the season. Kind of my way of supporting him. He came to Omaha for the one day he had off and watched us play UCLA, and was very, very awesome to see him there, and really proud of Paul.
Last two thoughts. What was Wednesday's celebration like?
Special. Like I said, it's just the nature of it. You're already behind in recruiting, whatever you want to call it, planning for next year when you play as late as we did. And it was a good couple hours to just stop all of that and focus on what this team accomplished, because it should be celebrated. It should be well thought of. It should be brought front and center. And so to do that with our players and their families, I won't say one last time, because we'll have our ring ceremony in the fall, but pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
And then again, last thought, what most comes to your mind? Again, a couple of World Series or College World Series championships at a storied program, but now you've had a really nice career that a lot of it has included being an assistant coach and doing well there. So what most comes to your mind when you think about your career?
Wow. I think I would want everybody that played for us to say, whether that was as an associate head coach at the University of San Diego or head coach at Point Loma, Nevada, Arizona, LSU, that coach brought it every single day. And, I have this weird dynamic in my head of I tell myself we're going to lose every game that we're going to play unless I do the best job I possibly can. And it's been kind of a good formula. And, the other thing is the players. You win in college baseball and college athletics because of the players and the athletes, not the coach. And I think I've always done a good job, making sure that they're at the forefront of what's happening and what we're doing. And that's what we'll continue to do at LSU.
LSU, again, completes the season 53-15. College World Series champions, as a matter of fact, for the second time in the tenure of Jay Johnson in his fourth season as the head baseball coach at LSU, joining us right here on the program. Coach Johnson, we appreciate the time. Continued success to you and the Tigers.
Thank you. Maybe we can get to do this again in the fall.
Absolutely.